Well, I think I may have done it, fellas. What do you think? I think I may have learned how to grow CP-related weeds and CPs in flooded buckets, basically. We'll see. I've watched this thing grow about 2 inches in 4 days. So it's a deadly nightshade, true dandelion, false dandelion, a plantain, which was one of the ones we found trouble growing before, and one of these cypress things from Copper Island sort of thing. So yeah, real twangers these are. Yeah, I like them. They really twang. So, and this is quite stable too. Look at that. You can really see it twang there. So you know, that's quite amazing. I took some of this stuff. I stripped it down, took the sand out, to just basically took it down to its components and tried it just in a little pot, and it's almost there. Almost there. So I don't know if I've got to wait a few days or what, but I think I've just reinvented the wheel. I think what this is basically the basic backbone of what they call root blast. Yeah, I've even got little rhubarb there, putting up a new leaf and everything. Got a liverwort growing there. I said, you know, if you can grow liverworts, you can grow CPs, whereas the white sock sour guys say, if you can grow a tomato, you can grow CPs. And look at that beauty there. You wait till that flowers in, I think it'll be July it flowers. Yeah, so we got the season. The seasons come really early. Very strange too. They've been digging up our road and they started putting all this crap on the along here. This sort of, what do you call it, to keep out the water, I think it is. But yeah, they put this great big slab in there, whether because they've got some trucks in here delivering, I don't know if you can see this over there, but this is very strange. If I close in on there, yeah, I'm having trouble with the zoom, fella. If I can close in there, they put the roof on but no walls. Yeah, I know they're having trouble with a building company over in New South Wales that's basically gone bust. But I don't know if that's related to it or not. But yeah, that's going to be an enormous one, that one. So it's going to be absolute beauty this season, hopefully. And come down here. And yeah, the seasons come, it's getting really chilly at the nights. Normally the rain comes just before, just after Anzac Day, which is in 2 weeks' time, basically. But it's already here. The rain that this is the second lot of rain we've had. So the rain we normally had for Anzac Day came 2 weeks ago, and so basically the season started a month early, basically. And it's all go, basically. By the time we get to Anzac Day, I reckon we'll be at the third week of May, sort of thing, by looking at the Cotoneaster and everything like that. So yeah, so very interesting. So I've got this one here. This also roof on, no walls. So I think it's the same company. So either that or they can't get the brickies, you know. How can you have a slovenly economy if you can't get the brickies? That's what I'm saying. It just doesn't add up. So, anyway, yeah, I'm just going to give you a little grand tour, sort of thing. A mini grand tour. So we got really bright sunlight because, as I said, it's so early in the season. Yeah, back vistas. I know you like them. I think. Yeah, it's a Saturday. So I've got a really hard choice to make. Do I grow the plants in flooded sand, which is the international standard course? Well, sand culture is the international standard. I've raised the bar a little higher. I've got flooded sand culture. Or do I want to grow it in flooded bark chips, basically? Very cheap. Now out here, if I go to Spot Cullen, we've got, you can see the cyanophyllus coming up because we've had so much water here. And there's lots of patches of it now. It's here, here, all through here. So it's certainly spreading. So you can even pick it up too with your fingers, see? You can pick it up there with your fingers. Can you see that? You know. So, yeah. Anyway, back to normal. Yeah. So let's all go, and I reckon I'll be walking around the reservoir for you, taking different new sections of the reservoir by Anzac Day, I reckon. So Anzac Day this year, the 25th of April, will be like the 21st of May onwards sort of thing, I reckon. It might be like that. Don't hold me to that, but it just seems that way this year. You know, well, we've also had a cyclone off of WA with the strongest winds ever recorded, nearly 300 kilometres an hour, absolute record. You know, they say it's the highest the scientists are saying it's the highest that wind can actually go. I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, I'm surely you can get higher winds if you set off some sort of thermonuclear device or something. But naturally, anyway, they reckon it's probably the fastest the wind can go. That it's physically possible to go naturally. But anyway, yeah. Well, I think that's how they get the Richter scale, isn't it? It's the continental shelves aren't long enough to get anything greater than magnitude 10 or something. That's what they say or something. But anyway, so yeah, plantains are out. They're all going to spruce up. What about the echiums down here? We got any echiums down here? So yeah, it's nice to be able to actually grow these plantains now. You know, before I could grow the false dandelion and the true dandelion, you know, the dandelion, but I couldn't grow the plantains or the echiums. But now I think it's going to change. But okay, basically, all I've done is I've uncovered what root blast is all about. I think. It's almost like a calculus problem. You know, how do I get it so that I release nutrients, and if I keep changing the environment so I can, you know, so I get fewer and fewer nutrients because they're so easily available. It's like this limit idea where I'll get to a point where they're so released and easily available that you don't need any of the element there at all, sort of thing. It's this mind-boggling calculus idea that the plants can be growing on an element that's not there because from a calculus perspective, you've made the element so free and available that the plant doesn't actually need it, if that makes any sense whatsoever. You know, you take the limit, and so in other words, you've got the limit on the element, so you've made it so easily free and available that you need so little of it that you get to a stage where you don't need any of it. If you get my drift, it's mind-bending stuff. Yeah. So, in other words, you've got it to a stage where you've made a soil where the plants don't need any nutrients whatsoever. It's a very nutrient-poor medium. Yeah, that's a back joke for all the people into carnivorous plants, you know. They're eating the insects from the nitrogen. You turn the corner on the bog, and it's as green as far as the eye can see, you know. And I'm saying, well, of course, they're arguing the fact is, oh, the plants are green because they're actually supplementing their diet with the insects, you see. And then you show them the photographs of plants in the wild with all their traps open this season, and then someone else's mobile phone picture of the same plant the season before, and so on. When did this plant eat the insects? How long can it go without eating insects? And what about the rest of the plants in the bog that aren't carnivorous? How are they getting their nitrogen? Why are they so green? Yeah, full colour. We went to Bright to see the full colours. We came back here and we saw more full colours here than over at Bright. And yet the woman was charging us the full colour price. She was charging us the cabin price for the full colours, and there weren't any full colours at Bright. Even though it was 8 degrees out at Hall's Gap at the end of March. Yeah, I had to keep progressively putting covers over me in the cabin as the night went on. It got colder and colder and colder. I kept putting sheets over and stuff, and yeah. Yeah, I don't know what they did with this thing, but whatever they did to this strip when they came last year and they did all that sort of stuff, you can see here, used to have dandelions growing here. Haven't seen a dandelion there since. But yeah, whatever they did there that got onto this plant, that one and the other plant out of the front garden, fantastic, looking just like that, but this one, it's been suffering ever since. Oh wow, we got a young Cotoneaster there. I think we might. Woohoo! I always use that as a sign when that's a full berry sort of thing. That's when you go looking for a Drosophila praeferale out in the wild. But way our one's going, it's going to be maybe as early as Anzac Day, the 25th of April, rather than the 21st of May onwards. So most of the things go like 3 weeks. So for Praeferale, it's 3 weeks after from the 21st onwards, and then Wittigrai, which is the only one that goes by the second week of June for 3 weeks, and then as you cross over from June to July, that's when the basal rosettes come out, and that's when you go looking for the basal rosette, and things like Hookii will stay in that basal rosette for 3 months basically, and before they start growing erect, and then they only grow like 2 inches if it's a true Hookii, basically. 2.5 inches max, basically, if it's a true Hookii. And whereas all the other ones, do other things, all the Hookii, Foliosa peltata, auricular complexes sort of thing. There's like 2 big massive complexes. And and we got, what's this one? They say it's a good sign of soil nutrition or something. That Soviak bloke on his channel talks about that one, along with dandelions and so forth. But as I said, the dandelion's a bit like the glid, it grows where it grows year in, year out. And if you transfer plants, between each other, they'll grow. But if you transfer them too far out of where they grow, like if I transferred a plant here between dandelions before whatever they put on this spray or whatever they did, they would grow. But if I planted it over there, it wouldn't grow, sort of thing. So I think we're getting an idea of colour check on the fairly fluorescent 5 bright 5. I've managed to set the setting on this hammer. You know how I did it? I got a wheat bag, put it in the microwave, got it warmed up into normal 2.5 minutes, I think, stuck the batteries in it, but only one of the batteries that I stuck in the wheat bag would allow me to set the settings on the camera. So, but I did notice the other 2 batteries that wouldn't do it, the camera registers much faster. So it's something to do, maybe it's something to do with the contacts or something. The battery has to be of a certain size so all the contacts actually contact. And you can do that by making the battery slightly bigger by warming it up, sort of thing. I don't know. Or making the little pixies inside work a little harder. I don't know. You raise every 10 degrees rise in temperature, you double the reaction rate. But as I said, this is going to be absolutely fantastic this season. You've seen the photographs from that last season that I put up on LinkedIn, and it's going to be absolutely marvellous. And we can probably go up and look at the old grand old dames at Suakap. When this is in bloom, they should be in bloom, sort of thing, because they're basically the same thing. So, the eucalypt didn't flower normally, quite a lot of eucalypt. See, you look over there, that shouldn't be in flower now, it should have finished. so it's really late sort of thing. So yeah, it looks like his thing over there is going to drop its leaves fairly shortly. But yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to 2023, 2024. I'm looking forward to never using peat again and actually managing after 50 years getting to the international standard of sand culture. But I've taken it a little bit further, flooded sand culture. Well, they are bog plants and they're going to span the gap between aquatic plants and maybe ocean plants, seawater and things like that. And so I've got this idea that most of those lower forms of plant life, mosses, liverworts, lycopods, ferns and things like that, maybe they evolved when the Earth was more anaerobic than you think. You went from anaerobic Earth to aerobic Earth when plants started releasing oxygen sort of thing. But I think some of these things may have evolved on the ocean shoreline sort of thing when the Earth was still quite fairly anaerobic sort of thing, and that's why we can do all this sort of growing it in flooded buckets sort of thing. And anyway, I've taken a few cuttings and things of this thing here. I'll show you this thing here. It started putting out, I go to spot Cullen. I don't know if these are pups or whatever, or they're the lower form of it. But yeah, I've taken a few of those, so if you can see that, I don't know if you can see that. But this is one of the two major Australian, I think there's only two, staghorn sort of ferns sort of things. So they're pretty prized. But I think you can grow them better. They say you put a banana peel behind there, but I ended up putting some fat from the pork roast. So you get the fat from the pork roast, wrap it up in a bit of toweling and shove the toweling underneath there, and yeah, it took off. So I think that's I think the banana peel is a bit of a furphy, because I did a spot check with some potash the other day and it failed. So I think after all this years of work, I thought, I better try this. And lo and behold, it failed. So, I mean, all this idea about orchid fertilisers and CPs liking orchid fertilisers, which are high in potassium, it does seem to be true, but my spot check that I did yesterday told me no, it's a fail. With my new advanced learning that I've got now of getting to the stage of growing these things in flooded bucket of sand culture, the international standard. No one else wanted to put the work in to get to that level. Because the first thing the scientists, so-called scientists, are going to say to you is, peat is an ill-defined, meaning your results don't count, but they can't do that with a sand culture, you see, because that's the international standard. You've met the international standard. They just can't poo-poo your results after that. If you're growing stuff in a flooded bucket of sand, they can't poo-poo your results saying, it's an ill-defined medium, there's so many different forms of peat out there, we can't trust the result. Can't do that when you get to the international standards sort of thing. So, yeah, anyway, so with all my advanced learning and sort of thing now, I can do spot checks now. And if I get a fail, it tells me back in the past I wasn't quite on the right track sort of thing. So, as I said, I tried potash yesterday and it came up with a fail. So all this idea that you can use that's the way to go, to use potash, your orchid fertilisers on your CPs, I would say that's a bit of a miss now. I would avoid doing that. There are better ways of growing the plants now because we have more information. As I said, it basically started from last year when I got to the salt that doesn't burn. It was like a dead-end cul-de-sac sort of thing. It's sort of like, I hit a brick wall. I could sit the plants in this salt thing, and they wouldn't burn. They grow very slowly. They look normal, growing very slowly. Didn't take off or anything major or spectacular or anything like that. And I thought, well, there's got to be something here, take the 60,000 foot view. It's the salt. I've got plants that don't like salt, apparently, growing in a salt. I mean, that's bloody fucking amazing if we put it into Australian parlance. There's got to be something here. So then I remember there's something I didn't try last year, so I tried it, and the whole salt just fell to pieces, and I thought, oh, so if this salt is holding all these nutrients, when it falls apart, you're releasing all those nutrients, and this got me onto this calculus idea that you make the soil nutrients so available, so they're so free and easily available that